Clutch Trucker, filmed before a live and fuzzy studio audience. Rusty, the world-famous meatball dog. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker channel. Alright, stupid unboxing today. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do some AppWeigh updates and some of my chugging issue updates, kind of where I'm at on that thing. Here it is, Thursday, the 6th of May. I'm at the TA in Whitestown, Indiana. Paid for a reserve spot, thank God, because they took me 4 hours or more to get unloaded from those watermelons. But this is one of those dumb little things I've been meaning to buy for a long time. A long time. I just never think about it. And luckily when I was in buying some extra parts tonight at the TA service center, this was hanging up on the wall. And it's one of those hat lights. It clips onto the brim of your hat, and you know, so then you don't have to hold a flashlight while you're trying to work in the dark or in darker areas around your engine, or like underneath the trailer, which are where I seem to have been a lot lately. Because what did I always do? I have my little, I love this thing. It's a little rechargeable 12 volt. You just stick it into your 12 volt socket, and it is a rechargeable flashlight. So what do I always end up doing? I do this while I'm working on stuff. And then I end up slobbering all over it. It gets kind of gross, and you know, it's kind of silly. Really, I mean, when there's things like that, why have I been doing this? Yeah, because I'm a moron at times, and that proves it. So like I say, this was hanging up on the wall there in the service center, a big $8 from Linco Products. They provide a lot of stuff for most of the truck stops. Cobb Ultra Bright Cap Light. So here you can see right there, Ultra Bright Cap Light. Oh, and there were 3 of them on the wall. This is the only one that worked. Because it says, try me. Alright, so the only real way to get into this thing is just to cut the freaking thing open. Alright, just cut. Alright, put those aside. And we pull it out. Alright, more of that aside. And yeah, see, it's got your little fin thingies to fit on the brim of your cap. It's kind of shaped for that. It's got the curve to it. Ooh. And the battery things can go on the bottom. Takes 3 AAAs. Alright, and so they are replaceable, which is good. Alright, and then the switch is right there. So now, we've unboxed it. Let's stick it on a hat and try it. Alright, got my Army hat, because my daughter's in the Army Reserve, so, you know, gotta be supportive, baby. And see, it's got the curve on the thing, and you got the curve on the light, and you just stick it on there like that. And now you got a light on your head. It's a beautiful thing. That's it. There's not much more to it than that. It's a light, sticks on your hat. So now I don't have to have a flashlight in my mouth. There, I thought I'd turn off my front light so you can see. Ah, isn't that lovely? It's the one-eyed monster coming to kill you. Ah. Like I say, one of those stupid things I've been planning to buy forever, and I never remember to do it. So yes, now when I'm working on things, I'll have a light on my hat. Make things a lot easier. I know it's nothing new. What can I say? Okay, now on to subject number 2. More updates on the AppWeigh thing. Now that I've had it on the truck, both sensors on the drive axle and the trailer axles, for a few days now, I'm liking the thing. I had to recalibrate down in Florida because I had put the, like I said in my last video with the whole thing all about it, I had put the one on the trailer in the wrong spot. So I had to recalibrate then. I'm going to do another recalibration tomorrow because the place I'm picking up at is only 8 miles away. I'm going to completely fill up and scale before I go, get loaded, come back, and then I won't have burned off hardly any fuel, so it'll be a really good account of a loaded and empty weight with full tanks. And that's what I'm going to try to do tomorrow. But while I was at the receiver tonight, and they decided to take over 4 hours to get me unloaded, as soon as I got there and backed into the door, I went ahead and crawled into the trailer with some more of my 1/4-inch airline. This is the extra one I just bought tonight because I used up all the rest of that 50-foot that I had bought the other day at Freightliner last week. And went ahead and then ran it all through the snaking of the airline and electrical system underneath the trailer, so when you slide the tandems, that'll move with it. And added it to that, put a quick connect on there, and then found a neat way to run it up the side rail of the trailer, up where all the other wiring is, completely out of sight and everything, and had it pop out right up front at the trailer skirt. And I was able to stick the little nozzle thing on there. It's got threads, and you can bolt it down to something, and now it's nice and handy in place, and I've got video all about that. Alright, if you remember in my last video, my AppWeigh app was right here on this post that comes off, connecting the air and electrical lines back to my trailer tandem. So I've taken the AppWeigh off there. I'm going to use a quick connect and run extra airline, snaking it along all of that so it can move back and forth. I'm going to hit the trailer skirt and see how far forward we can go with it. Alright, so there's the end where it can meet up with the other end, which is right there. And I ran it through that little hole right there, and then just kind of snaked it in and out, along with my electrical and other airlines, all the way around, so that it will flex with the springs and lines that are already here, and here's where it pops out. So if the trailer tandem slide back, this airline will move with it, and it shouldn't cause any problems. Okay, what I ended up doing is ran the line up there, up into the frame, and there's a little channel up there where all the wires go. So I added the airline to that, so it's tucked up under there into the frame. Ran that all the way under the frame up to about here, and you can see there's the airline popping down again right there. I hopped over the skirt with it, wherever, if you can see that. Anyway, and then put the quick connect on the back end of the sensor thing. I've got a nut I can screw onto that, and then put the sensor on the front, and that's going to hold that in place right there on the skirt. How handy is that? So got that on nice and tight. Now we just take our AppWeigh sensor, and it screws right onto the top of that. So now, as you can see, that's closer to the truck, and it's on the left side, and it's being held steady, which I think will help too. So maybe I can get a read while going down the road. We'll see. So now that I've moved that closer, actually it's reading the trailer axle more often and quicker than it's reading the drive axle, because I put the sensor in a really good spot. So it'll even read it while I'm going down the road, which is kind of cool. So you can get your weight while going down the road. How cool is that? So I decided I need to move the one I put on the drive axle on the tractor, because I put it on the rear airbag, so it's as far back on the tractor as it can go, and it's kind of tucked down there in the frame. So I got another 15 feet of airline. This doesn't look like 15, but that's what they charge for me. Maybe it is, when it's all coiled anyway. And they were more expensive here. I talked them down to $1 a foot at Freightliner in Davenport. I had to pay $2.50 a foot for it here at the TA. You can't negotiate on that here, but always negotiate if you can. Everything's almost always negotiable. Because when I was buying the 50 feet there at the Freightliner, and they said, well, that's $2 a foot, and I'm like, yeah, I really don't feel like paying $100. How about 50 at $1 a foot? And they said, yeah, we can do that. My wife always says, you don't ask and you don't get. So ask and you get, don't and you won't, right? why not try asking? Another double-sided quick connect for the 1/4" line. And see, this is, I just love these because they're so easy. So you stick it on there, you push it all the way down, and it's locked. You push that ring back there and push it on the tube, and you can pull the thing back out. Love these things. All right, so I'm going to run some more from the back airbag on the drive axle and bring it up to right behind the cab. I'm going to try to find some good place, like I did on the trailer, where I can screw that down into a permanent location so it won't wobble around, and it'll be readily readable by my phone, hopefully, so that now I'll have both of them that will read quickly and more often, because so far I'm pretty happy with the AppWeigh app. After I got parked here tonight at this TA, and now that I'm empty, I went ahead and looked on the app to see, get an update for it, and show the empty weight. So I've got a screenshot of that for you. There you can see the drive axle weight of 13,043, trailer axle group 10,590, total weight 34,888, which is probably pretty accurate because I have not fueled up all the way yet. I know I can be about 300-ish when I've got full tanks. So, like I say, overall, I'm really happy with the AppWeigh app so far. I have the extra batteries waiting for me at home because somebody did say you need to replace them about every 2 months, and I believe that because they're just little watch batteries in there, and it's updating every 15 seconds. So, you know, yeah, that's gonna bleed down over time. But I mean, they're tiny little things. And now I'll have them both in good spots where I can easily get to those batteries to change them out any time of year, which will also be handy. So that'll make things easier too. And I'll be able to just unscrew them, bring them back in the trunk, and put the batteries back in. You got to remember which one was which, because you've already paired them. You don't want to reverse them at that point. Okay, now subject number 3. Here we go. All right, for those of you who've been watching my videos and following along, I've been having this chugging issue for months now, and I thought the injectors would take care of that issue. No, that just was spending a lot of money. Didn't fix the problem. But it was time for new injectors. Yes, yes, yes. I was at almost 750,000 miles, so it was definitely time. They needed to be done. I was just hoping that would fix my problem too, but it didn't. Then I had the video where I thought I came up with the solution as I was driving down to south of Cincinnati. I stopped at that Freightliner there and got new fuel tank vents. Made sense to me. Fuel tanks got to breathe. If they can't breathe properly, the fuel flow coming out of them may be disrupted. That could have caused the chugging issue. Of course it didn't. This is the great part about having a YouTube channel, is then I get great suggestions from so many people watching, and I've had so many of you give me great suggestions, great ideas. A lot of you said, yeah, I just need to pay the money and suck it up and bring it to a Freightliner and let them diagnose it. And yes, I know I need to do that, but I'm going to try 2 more things first, then I'll suck it up and do that, all right? Because a lot of people said, how about that check valve on the Davco? And I got a replacement while I was down in Florida. I got a better picture of it. And I got a picture off the internet of the Davco, so for those of you who know what I'm talking about, it's your fuel water separator, or in this case, on this truck, it's the only fuel filter there is. And look at this picture, and I'll show you where this thing goes in. Right there is the intake side for the fuel coming in, and that's where that check valve goes inside the unit. This was 17 bucks. It's a little ball in there, you know, and a spring. If this fixes my issue, wow, would that be cheap. I don't really think this will fix the issue. I think it might be contributing to the problem, but I don't think, just like the air vents, I think was contributing to the problem. Just like I think a lot of the things I've done have been contributing to the problem, but I think this won't solve it. What I think is going to be the one that really solves it is this thing. Now, I showed both of these in my last video because I did buy the parts down in Orlando. This one, the Davco check valve. This one is also known as a check valve or a fuel pressure regulator, okay? Could be under both names. You look inside, it's kind of hard to see in there. But there's a little, you know, kind of membrane in there, a little kind of diaphragm. And then this end connects to your fuel line. And I actually, when I picked up the part, I said, you got a diagram you can print off for me so I can take that with me? and he was nice enough to do so. So let's look at that picture and I'll explain. All right, so this is the back side of the engine. That hard line you see coming in there, right, labeled number 6, that's the fuel input coming in. Right above that, you can see the line goes to that little piece in between and a little elbow, and then number 3 there, that is the fuel check valve or the fuel pressure regulator, whichever you want to call it, and that could be causing all my problem. So, like the air vents on the tank, like the check valve on the Davco, I can all see how these can make sense. This one seems to really make sense to me, because if it's allowing more fuel to flow back out of the engine without as much coming in as it should, that could be the low power and the chugging issue. So, I have the part. This is it. This is like $93. 93 bucks for this thing. Doesn't look like it should cost $93, does it? But it does. I saw online some Freightliners charge up to like 200 bucks for this thing. So I did ask when I got parked here at the TA tonight, and I went in and bought my extra airline and my quick connect and all that. I said, hey, would your technicians be able to do this? You know, because it goes on the back of the engine, where I showed you. I probably can't do it myself, but if I paid you, they got a lower hourly labor charge here than a Freightliner does. This is where you learn as an owner-operator where to do certain things. You do certain things at Freightliner, you do certain things at like a TA or Petro based on the fees. Parts are generally cheaper at a Freightliner than a TA or Petro, but a lot of times I'll buy them at a Freightliner and I'll bring them over to a TA or Petro and have them put them on because they usually have set fees. Where a Freightliner is always going to charge you that hourly rate of at least 160 bucks an hour, plus the shop fees, blah, 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 blah. So after I get loaded tomorrow, I'm going to come back over here. I need to do my reweigh for the whole AppWeigh thing, to do another calibration, because I'm anal about it. I just want to make sure I have it completely as accurate as possible without running much miles in between calibration on that. Okay, back to this issue. But if I can get in line and get them to put this on for me, I've got extra time on this run. Picks up tomorrow, Friday, which would be the 7th. Doesn't deliver until I've got 2 stops. One on Monday at Costco in Monroe Township, New Jersey. I'm sure drivers, a lot of you have been there. That's not a bad one. They tend to get you in and out within a couple hours-ish. Then on the next day, Tuesday, I've got a delivery at 10 a.m. up in Connecticut. I don't know exactly where it is. I'm going to park Monday night at that Milldale or Waterbury, Connecticut TA, which is not the best, but at least I can reserve a spot there. So that I deliver Tuesday morning for this load. It actually pays really well, and it should, because it's going to take all weekend long, and it's got 2 drops, so it's paying me like it's paying 3,600 bucks, and it's, you know, only just over 800 miles. So that's a really good van load, but it gives me extra time to try to maybe put these things on. I'm going to do this one myself because I can. This one I'm going to have to probably pay somebody to do, but this one just might be the saving grace. Of course, I thought that about the fuel vents too. This is my last ditch try, and if this isn't it, then yes, I'll bring it to a Freightliner and I'll have them diagnose the problem, because at that point I'm pretty convinced it's got to be the fuel lines. Maybe there's a collapsing fuel line somewhere, maybe there's just it's not tight enough in some places. I'm going to check everything I can when I do the Davco thing tomorrow on my own. And like I say, if these 2 last things I'm going to try don't work, I'm punting. I'll bring it to a Freightliner and pay them for the diagnostic, and we'll go from there. Alright, this has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about, but it's been driving me nuts. I saw a whole bunch of Chick-fil-A billboards the last few days, and some of them have the actual, you know, plastic cows up there with the paintbrush. Chick-fil-A, yeah, your sandwiches are pretty good. Your French fries are kind of weird, but they're not bad. But, you know, it's been years. It's been like well over 10 years. Yeah, I get it, okay? The cows can't spell. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't that hilarious? Cows are funny. They can't spell right. So they're painting these billboards because they don't want you to eat them. They want you to eat chicken. Isn't this hilarious? Okay, Chick-fil-A, it's time to get a new concept, baby, on your advertising. Cows can't spell. Ha, ha, ha. It's to the point where I don't go to Chick-fil-A. I avoid them like the plague because their billboards piss me off so much. Maybe it's just me. I know that was a stupid unboxing, but you know, why not? It's one of those stupid things I've been meaning to buy forever. Big $8. Even at a TA, that's pretty cheap, right? They charge me a lot for other little parts, like, you know, these zip ties. $5 for a bag of zip ties. And they charged a lot more for that 1/4-inch airline and the Quick Connect than the Freightliner did. But, you know, I was here and I wanted to get them so I could get this done. It's the way you go sometimes. Sometimes time is money, baby. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. As always, please like and comment if you would like to. Only if you'd like to. I get to your comments. Sometimes takes a day or two because I'm a working truck driver. I'll get the hair out of your eyes. There you go. See, that's better, isn't it? Don't forget to ring the bell for notification. And don't forget Clutch Trucker at Instagram, Clutch Trucker at Twitter. And as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and Rusty. Out. You shouldn't hang me from a hook, Johnny. My mother hung me from a hook once. Once. Come on, Rusty. Come on. I know, I'm sorry I forgot to get the bacon strips. I didn't see any in the TA. It's just the Tostitos scoops. You gonna try one? I know, they're not bacon strips. I'm an awful, awful father.